Premier Nomvula Mokonjane and Minister for Arts and Culture, as well as Minister of Women, Children and Disability, Lulu Qingwana, was there. And they said what they're doing with the Women's Monument is to start writing her story, not history, so to speak, but her story. They were joined by hundreds of women, as I said, who are currently on their way, marching to the Union buildings in commemoration of that day 56 years ago. But let's get a better sense of what's happening here on the lawns with my colleague Luvani. Luvani, what's going on with you?
Well, thank you so much, Valdi, and a warm welcome to our viewers. For much of this broadcast today, I will be interacting with some of the women that have come here to commemorate this day, and also to hear from them what they expect to hear as President Jacob Zuma addresses them later on. This year's theme is women, 56 years of women fighting against unemployment, poverty and inequality, and how fitting, as analysts argue, that 18 years into democracy, women and the young people in particular seem to be the main losers in the post-apartheid transformation program. And on the other hand, research also shows that women and the young people again seem to be the ones that are struggling again with inequality, poverty and unemployment. And for this reason, our reporter Zimkita Matsingwane has compiled a report which looks at the struggles of some women in the rural areas. Let's take a look.
You got the insert warning?
Hi, Alan. I can, Alan.
Yeah.
All right. Is Luwadi crossing back to Griselda?
I can't really hear anyone. Okay, I'm coming back. Yeah. Okay. Am I still linking to the story? Is the clip still on? I don't know what's going on.
Nithi ngikwenze le crossing elandelayo. Ha? Ngenze le crossing elandelayo.
Thatha khona position lela bona. What's up? Ufuna ikhipha la?
No, it's
You're right.
Namhlanje sizele kona ukuthi sizobona ukuthi imana
Sorry?
How's the level?
It's good. very faintly. Very faintly.
Now? Come here.
Can you tabo, yeah?
Nicely. Nicely.
Can someone turn this earpiece down for me, please? It's a bit too loud. Minister, how would you like me to refer to you this morning?
President of the ANC Minister.
Still too loud, guys. Thank you. Much better.
My lips
thank
are
you.
very dry. Okay. Okay, just
Got a bit of glass there. Much better, thank you, Alan. I will.
hello, babe. Get it? Okay.
Hi, Tonello. We're getting ready to do the national anthem.
I realized that we share a birthday, 19 June.
Is it? Oh.
Another song.
Kanago A.
But this time I want to tell you both. I will ask the question Yeslu. Okay. But Nina.
Siyayazi auntie. Volume lwasibula wakho.
Nikhulume nikhulume yonke into. Ngizobuza nje umbuzo oyi-one but ningiphendule in detail.
Okay, Nkulu. Okay. Awufetha.
Thank you, Twana Gospel Choir. And now they're going to do a song. We call it a national anthem ya Tshwane. When we wrote it, it's a national anthem ya Tshwane. They're going to do a song called Melody ya Tshwane. So you're going to hear the Melody ya Tshwane. You know it, and it's going to be a national anthem Tshwane. Enjoy it.
There I am indeed at the Union Buildings. I see hundreds of women who are making their way from the Lillian and Roy Square to the Union Buildings. Among them was the president of the Women's League, the ANC Women's League, Angie Mutshekga, and she joins us now. Minister, what were you marching for this morning?
It was ready to relive what our princesses left for us, because August 9 is one special day when we rededicate ourselves to the work of those women. So it's always very useful also to relive their experiences.
Do you think that people who joined the march today really got a sense of the importance of that day 56 years ago?
I hope they do, because personally it really does make me remember those women. I'm privileged. I'm not carrying a child on my back. I don't have a threat of anybody shooting at me. So I'm ready, marching in a very safe environment. I'm sure the feeling is different, but for me the commitment and the rededication and for me it was the most brave move that those women did during the time.
We do need women to be brave even today still. What would you like, or what would the Women's League like government to focus on when it comes to women's issues?
We work very close with government. As a Women's League, our focus, you'll see when we go to conference, to make sure that all the time, we make sure the issues of women don't fall off the cracks. The voice is loud and heard, and issues of women really prioritize even discussions. And that's what we live for the Women's League. That's what we strive for, and that's what we really, I think, determines also what our existence is all about.
We also saw the ANC centenary flame being handed over to the marchers this morning.
Sorry about that. No, it's true, because we're asked to be brought to us specially as a Women's League, because as much as it's for all the provinces in the 12 months, but we also felt that as a Women's League, the August month is our month. So there must be special activities in the ANC, also as part of the centenary. The president gave the Matrage centenary memorial lecture. We normally do it ourselves, but we insisted that this year the president must do it for the Women's League.
Minister, I was speaking to some of the young women who were in the march, and they said what they really need today, some of the challenges they'd like addressed, is to see women being trained. We also heard Premier Nabula Mokonyane saying the Women's Monument would train women in leadership position in business. Would you like to see that happening?
We're going through a very exciting time in the league, because we're really seeing roles of young women coming to the fore. It is really exciting that they're going to re-energize the league. We're going to possibly even have a new, I think, as I say, energy. The new focus also on what affects young women, who are the future. So I was very excited to see many of them in blouses. And I'm told from different provinces, we're seeing a huge upset of young women. And it will be very useful to make sure that as they come to the league, we prepare them. We really make sure that as they come in and bring new energy, but they also learn about where we come from, and also learn about where we are supposed to be, so that they don't, I think it doesn't become another women organization. It must remain a women's political organization with a specific agenda.
Thank you very much, Minister. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, Alan, I'm talking as loud as I can. Is this loud enough for you? Alan? Thank you very much.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Abraham is going to go to those people of PA to bring the sound down.
Okay.
Because we cannot hear
Are we
even
done?
on TV.
It's too loud. Thank you very much, Minister. Have a good Women's Day. The thing is, I can't talk louder than I'm talking. I'm screaming.
Even on television, they cannot even hear. It's too loud. Because they're supposed to kill them.
Alan! Tabo! Guys, I can't talk louder than I am. Like, I'm screaming already.
It's fine. You don't need to shout. It's okay. Talk them over and then you must bring this thing down.
I can't hear. There's some water. Because they're screaming at me. They're like, talk loud. I'm like, I can't. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. Hey? Hello, Minnie. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. And how are you?
I'm good. How do I refer to you this morning? The new AU chairperson? Are you referred to you as the new AU chairperson?
Hey, Minister.
I'm fine, thanks.
We're just going to wait for these guys to lower this thing because when you go on air, you can't hear, the viewers can't hear at home. So we're just trying to sort this thing out so that it's just lower it so that when you're on air, you are able to be audible.
Okay.
That's what we're doing.
How long is it going to take? How long is it going to take?
I don't know. Paul just wants to speak to them.
Buffalo, can I just ask a matter on your lips?
But when I speak to her, like, how do I say it?
Just put it together for me.
Hello, Alan? Sorry? the snow in Joburg?
I was in Pretoria.
You were in Pretoria. Did you see any snow?
Yes. But I'm used to it.
Of course you are. You well traveled.
I come from an area in South Africa where it snows.
Where?
In Underberg.
Oh, really?
So I grew up with snow. So
It's not something unusual for you. How long are you in South Africa for?
I'm here until September. I'll go in and out, but after that I'll go for good.
So you don't permanently have to be based in Addis?
I will be from October.
From October?
Permanently in Addis.
Moving your family, everyone there. How's your daughters?
They're fine.
I went to school with one of them.
Which one?
Trying to remember her name. Trying to remember the name.
Where?
Rose.
Okay.
You're just trying to sort out the sound. It's just so loud. Am I right in saying that the AU has declared this the year of the woman? Am I right in saying that the AU has declared this the year of the woman?
Is that what?
Am I correct in saying that the African Union has declared this the year of the woman?
The decade. Not the
Decade.
year. 2010 to 2020.
2020. So what exactly does that mean?
You can decide what it means for you
If you want to.
as a woman.
But is it really about promoting women in leadership positions or training women on the continent or uplifting women?
It's about focusing on women and their needs in every respect, not just in leadership positions.
But the African continent as a whole, it's so, I don't know, it's so diverse, and the women face different challenges from West Africa to East Africa. I mean, the kind of issues the media choose to focus on is obviously the easy ones, which is female genital mutilation, it's domestic violence here in South Africa, but obviously it runs a lot deeper than that.
I think women face common challenges everywhere. There may be specifics, but the general challenges are the same because we're facing a patriarchal society that
we are going to start shortly. There was a march this morning repeating the march of 1956 by the women.
Griselda, I'm joined now by the newly elected chair of the African Union, Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma. She is sitting right next to me, and we're just going to talk a little bit about her role in the AU, but also about how she'll be advancing the cause for women. Thank you very much for joining us this morning, ma'am.
are welcome.
Just, the AU has declared this the decade of women. What does that mean?
It just means that the continent should focus on women's issues and challenges that are facing women in the various countries. But it also means women themselves must define what they want to see during this decade and articulate it so that the governments and other people that are looking at women's issues know what they want themselves for this decade. So it's both what the governments want to do, what the AU wants to do, but more importantly, what the women themselves define as what they would like to see happen during this decade.
What would you like to see happen as the AU chair?
First, I would like to see women recognizing some of their power, that women, we are the majority in any country, and therefore we must define our agenda and present it to governments, because there's no government that can win election. There's no party that can win election if women don't support it. So I think that's where we should start. But also we should make sure that girls go to school and we raise them in a way that makes boys and girls equal. They may have different responsibilities, but their rights are the same. They must be equal. And girls must go to school, must get skills. But also what I would like to see is women advancing not only in political leadership, but also making way into the economy. And so there are things that need to be done. Women must have access to land, which most countries, even here, they really don't have. They must have access to finance. Even if they want to have a small business, they must have access to finance that they can access easily, that does not have onerous conditions. And including in the judiciary, in the academy, in every aspect of life, women should advance. And I'd like to see women aim high, aim for the stars, because we will never reach the stars, but if we aim for the stars, it means the direction will always be upwards.
Well, you're certainly a very inspirational woman. Thank you very much for joining us. I see the president has arrived. I'm just going to hand over to my colleague Luvani, who is on the lawns of the union buildings.
Well, thank you so much, Valdi. A lot of people have already filled the union buildings. And with me here, I have Umama Susan De Vos, who is from Brakpan. I just want to hear from Umama, what brings you here today?
The march for 1996. Bomesi Sulu and ba march about the union building, but buat abali furvu for a rescatola rechara di pasi. And then today, the tatila humpion, kiki tu meti for bomme ban ba dira religion, religione. And then Baba South Africa. Relevile tata for rebona gore re more liting today mo parliamenting and resatseni muto on resatseni mo parliamenting and today tervel for bomme Sisulu bomme Winnie Mandela Lebo kwasisana Zuma retseni today mo parliamenting so ke tumetse thata ke te bomme ba batlang ko morao a re tshwarang ele yalo re ska ra fela spirit ile ya bomme ba le ba 1956 ai boela mo go rona ba tla ba re nna strong go ya pele nyana and then ke tumetse le kwasisana Zuma ka mo lebogise ya ka a tseni ko SADC a tshwara lefatsi la SADC ya bo ile bomme ka mo lebogise bomme ba South Africa today ke tumetse ke bua ke le mo SABC 1 ke re bomme a re busitse spirit ya bomme le rato la bomme re mo parliamenting
re leboga Mama Susan Biele. Mama Maureen, what would you like the president to say today?
Singajabula kakhulu uma ngabe upresident wethu njengoba esithembisile ngemisebenzi wasithembisa ngakho konke ukuthi uzosinikeza imisebenzi wasithembisa ukuthi ubugebengu buzophela eSouth Africa. Singacela kakhulu kupresident wethu uZuma ukuthi asisize kakhulu ngobugebengu ngoba sibona ubugebengu buye ngokudlanga kakhulu, sibona ubugebengu buya ngokulokhuza, buya ngokuqhubekela phambili nokusikhalela nezalukazi ogogo ingathi ogogo bangakwazi ukuthi babe nabantu abazobagada bababheke ogogo, kube nabantu ababanake kakhulu bababheke kakhulu nakakhulu ngabantwana, abantwana banakekelwe kakhulu, bomama asinakekele nabantwana.
Siyabonga. Thank you so much. For now, we are going to cross to the celebrations which have just started.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence and meditation. Thank you very much. You may be seated. Yeah. No, we are coming to celebrate, so you don't have to sit. We'll only allow the president to sit. As I said earlier, that we're not going to have a lot of speeches, but I want to once more welcome our President Jacob Zuma and Mrs. Zuma, Premier of Gauteng, the Mayor of Tshwane, Minister Qingwane, former Deputy President Balega Mbete, Balinteng kaofela political parties that are here with us. We have made arrangements for the leaders of political parties, probably mainly from their Women's League or the women leaders of those parties, to come and say a few words. So if they are not here on stage, if they are that side, I would ask them to please come this side. We have a few that are here, but if you are representing a political party and you are not on this stage, please make your way here quickly. We will give them very short time, probably about 2 minutes, to convey messages. The main message will come from the President of the Republic. Having said those few words, it is now my honor once again to call the Executive Mayor of Tshwane, Ntate Khosientsho Ramokgopa, to welcome us to this beautiful city, so that we can know if we are welcome. Once he has done so, we will be able to proceed with the activities of today. Ntate Ramokgopa, the stage is yours.
Allah, Allah, Vasadi, Allah, Allah. Allah, Allah, Vasadi, Allah, Allah. Khotsong. Pula. I want to take this opportunity to thank the Joint Program Directors, Minister of Arts and Culture, Minister Mashatile, the Premier of Gauteng, and the Marshal-in-Chief, Premier Nomvula Mokonyane.
While the events are unfolding on the podium, I'm now joined by Minister of Women, Children and People with Disabilities, Lulu Qingwane. Minister, thank you so much for joining us. You've just marched the whole way from the Lilingwe Square all the way to the Union Buildings, a long way.
Yes, we today are celebrating 56 years since the 1956 March. So it's a great celebration for us, and we are saying women must unite behind the new challenges of our generation, challenges of poverty, inequality, and unemployment.
Those challenges are something that ordinary women struggle with every single day. How does one uplift them? How can government help them?
Well, government has set aside a number of programs, including the New Growth Path, the Job Fund, the Green Climate Fund, and a number of programs, including cooperatives and small business funding under the Department of Trade and Industry. What we are doing in our department is to mobilize women into cooperatives and organize them to set up their own small businesses and help them facilitate their access to land, working together with the Department of Land and Rural Development, and ensure that the funds that have been set aside by government, the 9 billion job fund, the 25 billion for the green economy, we're saying there must be a set aside that will focus directly on women empowerment.
In 1956, women managed to mobilize more than 20,000 of them. Do you think that women today understand how important it is to get into formations, to form groups that can uplift and also make their voices heard?
Yes, we appreciate the struggles that were waged by our women, our mothers, our grandmothers, at a time when the bastion of apartheid was at its height. But women had the courage, bravery, they sacrificed everything they had and marched to the Union building, which was an untouchable in those days. It's not only in 1956 that women marched. Last week we were in Bloemfontein, where the president unveiled Lillian Ngoyi's street, which originally was the Maitland Street. And therefore we are saying that we are now writing the history of our women in the struggle, her story. And we're saying in the centuries of the struggle against colonialism and apartheid, women were there. Charlotte Maxakes of this country, the Lillian Ngoyis, and today we have Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, who is one of our greatest gender activist and a freedom fighter who is now going to fight for freedom for the women of Africa. So we're saying we have to continue with the struggle. The challenges are still there. Much still needs to be done, but with the heritage, that the legacy that our mothers left us, and also the women's commitment, the women of today's commitment, we are saying this country is our country. We will never give up.
Are you hoping that places like the Women's Monument that will be built at next to the Lillian Ngoyi Square will serve as an inspiration for the young women for today to mobilize, to fight the challenges that they face today?
Yes, this morning we unveiled the Women's Living Monument at the Lillian Ngoyi Square, and we're saying that will be a living monument, not just a dead museum. We're saying women will be there to tell the story, her story, in the struggle for freedom in our country. We're saying women will be empowered and trained with skills. We're saying women will be able to exhibit their products, their wares, their books, their writings, and also this will be a get-together for young and old. Intergenerationally, women will be able to share experiences and will be able to pass the baton from the older women to the younger women like you today.
Thank you very much, Minister, for joining me. Thank you for being such an inspirational woman. And with that, we'll take back to Griselda.
Very brave women who made it possible that today we can stand here as a free people. So we're going to celebrate them. One or two of them may still be here amongst us, but we're going to honor them forever. Memukonyane, Etlautlonka program, take it forward until when you are tired, you give it back to me.
Long live the fighting spirit of Helen Joseph. Long live. Amandla. Humunati Union Building, si humunati. Kashekulena rikitika. Bakhali baruna. Batwa stlhabelo baruna. Riqadile useng. Rona re le basadi ba neng ba tswa thapelong bosiu kaofela mo president. Re sisitse bosiu mona Tshwane tlasa tshireletso ya ntate Ramokgopa. Re rapella mmuso wa rona, re rapella baetapele ba rona, re rapella General Ria Piega re re kwa rona hore ha banke matla a o re sireletsa re le basadi. Ra tloa useng ra ilo bula site morilo ahang monument e phelang ya basadi. Lilian Ngoyi Square. Lapho siyakha khona imonument ezothuthukisa abaholi bethu bakusasa. Young women who are aspiring to be leaders, they are going to be trained at the Lilian Ngoyi Institute. Our women are going to tell their stories. Hutobali her story mani Lilian Ngoyi. Ising history kabani history ainannet. Ritobuaka her story mani Lilian Ngoyi. Ribuaka tutleo ya basadi bako kunu bako pitidi sule juang bakwa na Freistati Republic kaufela. Ribuachena Serena lichelete kanaka 108 million eko pansitsweng ke mmuso wa Gauteng le mmuso wa Tshwane ho ahela basadi ba South Africa monument. Manje ke sithakube nomgalelo Minister Mashatile, Mamu Enji, Mamu Lulu, Mongameli, faka imali uzobona. Akiri bo mama. Owethu lo government ngowethu. Uzoyithola kanjani? Namhlanje sinabo baba wethu nabafowethu amadodana sewesile. Nabo abaqeda iminyaka engu100 bekhona. Ritoba bitsa le bona ba ke ba re gase re tsitsinyehe. Ritoba le Rebecca Malope. Rena litebo ya tswang kwana ho lantate Magashule le ene o tlo re gasa ho be monati. Rena le Miriam Makeba Cultural Group e tlo performang teng mona. Ha re tsamaye rona ha una nagpas se tsamaile nagpas. Sihlala la sizophola la kwa Ramukhupa na kwa Zuma kumnandi angithi amadodana sewisile.
Sanibonani. Sawubona Premier wase Gauteng. Sawubona Minister we Arts and Culture. Sanibonani Mzansi. Nijabulile e-Union Buildings. Aw, sanibonani bo mama basemzansi bo. Ake niyiyizele sizwe. Oh mama besizwe yiyizelani sizwe. Lizalisiti ngala lakho yekali ekongose yane zozoteka zongindla
Siyabonga amadodana sewesile ari bafeng makhofi ape. Kuba bengithi bengizothi amadoda ethu. Ukuba bengimdala bengizothi ukuzala ukuzelula. Siyabonga amadodana sewesile. Sibafisela okuhle njengoba begubha iminyaka e100. Ntenga usinya sibaka ngizobiza ummeli we-United Nations here in the Republic of South Africa, uDr. Agostino Zacharias, who have also joined us to come and celebrate with us this historic day. Makhofi bomme harimu amueleng Dr. Zacharias.
Malibongwe. Igama lamakhosikazi. Dumela. Yeah, sanibonani. Awushen. Dimatsiari. Goeiemorgen. Good morning. Molweni. Tovela. I think I've covered all the ground. I'm here to say thank you to the people and the women of South Africa. Not only for what you've done in the last 100 years, some of us in the rest of Africa would not be free if it had not been the teachings of the ANC. It was the only party in the continent that we were looking for. But most important than that, the role of women in encouraging other women of the continent and encouraging the women of the world in this struggle of liberation of women. So I'm here to say thank you, not only for looking after our families and our children, but the working hand in hand with the men in freeing this country and by winning the struggle against the discrimination. The United Nations Secretary General is sending his compliments and congratulations to all the people and the women in particular of this country, of this great country, for the achievements they have made, not only in politics, in social life, in the struggle against the HIV, in looking after the children of the world, and also in the economic battle. We know that we haven't achieved quite a lot there, but I wanted to assure you that the United Nations will be working with the women in South Africa towards achieving economic emancipation of women. Thank you. Malibongwe. Igama lamakhosikazi.
Ngizobiza omele EUDM umama ukhulufelo Mokhana liena atlemo atlo dumedisa pele mo presidente a bua le rona ke tla nnetse ke ba bitsa ka o latelana ha bona.
Dumela Abusheni Khuyamware mense. Good morning everybody. Sialibulisa. Thank you very much, Mr. Program Director. From the UDM, we are saying we are celebrating this day, with pleasure, with excitement. Dr. Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela calls his life of imprisonment a long walk to freedom. So, we as women, we also have to say a lot. We have been longing this day. We have been longing this time. We have been expecting to make an input in our political setup. We are saying, women of South Africa, let's stand up. A day this is the day where we should take it by force and not forget about the past. Let's take this day, with excitement to say we are given a platform to play our part because we have a potential. Good people, we are rejoicing. All the different kinds of people, all the colors of South Africa, the multilingual, multicultural as we are, we say Viva South Africa, Viva. Thank you. Viva!
Wathinta bafazi. Ngizobiza omele iAPC umamu Margaret Arnold liena atle atodumedisa.
Amandla. Thanks, Ms. Program Director, Premier of Gauteng, President of the country. The APC celebrates this Women's Day, and we are thankful for those women that had the courage and resilience to have achieved for women, especially for the African women. The APC believes the best way to celebrate Women's Day and have women's celebrations is to advance the needs of women. We feel that poverty still bears the face of an African woman. We feel that poverty still comes to women Women feel the brunt of poverty extremely. If we look in Carolina and Guyana, it's women that are going out to get water, to nurture and nourish their families. Women still suffer extreme violence, physically, mentally, emotionally. We need to join hands in this gigantic struggle to uplift our women. For us to forward our country, we must as women be assertive, persistent, without being arrogant. The APC calls on all women, all political parties, to take hands in empowering our women and affording them the opportunity to empower themselves. I thank you.
Wathinta abafazi ngizobiza manje umama umazikalala omele iIFP umama uzikalala.
The program directors, Minister Paul Mashatile, Minister of Arts and Culture, the department, the Premier, intombazane le esibiza ngokuthi uMamkhize. That is the Premier of Gauteng, Nomvula Mokonyane. His Excellency the President of the country, Baba Msholozi. Ngithanda ukubingelela usihlalo omkhulu kumbutho wethu kaKhongolose. Untombazane lo ngimbabiza amantombazane ngoba amantombazane amvele. Untombazane la baleka mbethe. Ngibingelela umama wethu osiphathele umnyango obaluleke kangaka. Kuyabonakala namhlanje ukuthi ngempela umnyango wethu wabesifazana izingane zethu nabakhubezekile bethu ukhona umama uLulu Qingwane. Ngibingelela umama ophethe iligi yamantombazane kuKhongolose, umama uAngie Mutshekga. Baningi kakhulu angazi ke manje ukuthi ngithini, sengiyababutha ndawonye ngithi Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, bayongixolela. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, and most especially the women of this wonderful nation, it is a great privilege and truly humbling experience for me to stand here before you today as a representative of the IFP Women's Brigade, the Parliament of South Africa, and most importantly, as a woman. We are here today to celebrate a day. Cheers. Cheers. This is our day, girls.
Yes, Mama.
We need to be very bright. And we must look very much alive. Today, we have come to celebrate. Women's issues, I feel it shouldn't be politicized. They are of national concern, no matter what political party we belong to. This is a day when the people of South Africa join hands and celebrate their most treasured resource, the mothers and daughters of this, our great nation. It is a day upon which we honor the great women that have come before us, women that have inspired us, women that have given their everything so we may enjoy a free and democratic South Africa in which all have equal opportunity, peace, safety, love, and place in the sun. To conclude, yet today, in many instances, our women are still raped, abused, and treated like second-class citizens. This must stop. Today, we unite in one voice as the women of South Africa and say to our men, respect us, please. Honor us, cherish us, for we are the mothers of this nation. Treat us as such. I thank you.
Malibongwe. Sizobiza umama uAndiswa Mtali omele PAC of Azania. Mamu Mtali. Fast Bogwenya, Namdinguye, Peganava Fast Bogwenya, Namdinguye, Peganava Fast Bogwenya, Namdinguye, Peganava Fast Bogwenya. Molweni, Ninjani, Siphilile nathi kumnandi balapha. The Honorable President, Babu Msholos, the Honorable Minister of Women, Youth, Children, and People with Disabilities, Minister Lulu Klingwana, the Premier of Gauteng, Honorable Nomvula Mukonyane, the Program Director, Minister, and all the distinguished guests that have graced this occasion. On behalf of the PAC leadership, I greet you all. Train a woman. Train a nation. Train a woman. Train a nation. The Pan-Africanist Congress of Azania and its Women's Week is honored to be invited in this historic event where we join together in commemorating a mass demonstration by women against the imposition of past laws which took place in 1956. It is clear, ladies and gentlemen, Nani Bomama, Uguti, the challenges that we face today and the challenges that women in the 50s faced are extremely very big and zingapha kwamandla ethu. Kufuneka siyazile into kuba in an African culture and in an African home, there was nothing that was done without a woman. All the decisions that were made and all the decisions that we are making today, women have got to be involved. We salute the heroines that have fought in the struggle towards women emancipation, women who have never surrendered, women who have never compromised during our struggle of liberation. Omam Sobukwe, Omam Unomvoboy, omamulilian Ngoyi, amaqhawe namaqhawekazi elizwe lethu awa edabini. Sithi hunju kubo namhlanje. The PAC would also like to salute the recent election of Dr. Nkosazana Zuma, Dlamini Zuma, as the chairwoman of the AU. We trust that she will be a beacon of hope in uniting Africa, in uplifting women and children, and we wish her well. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, we are putting a challenge to government that women should be recognized, and we need to recognize our icons, irrespective of organizational affiliation. And we would like to say that please give more strategic leadership roles to women. They can lead. They have shown it. We are also putting a challenge to all women in all organizations to work together towards educating the African child and instilling our cultural and moral values. We need to bring back the communal values, opposite, your child is my child. Lastly, the African royalty women need to continue in playing their role in educating the society because, ladies and gentlemen, modernization should not be treated as a departure from African way of life where families and communities were custodians of morality. And in my final remarks, Program Director, I would like to conclude by reading a poem by, the last verse of the poem by our icon, Don Matera, who's a journalist, which says, I quote, "Only through the spirit and womb of caring, giving women can true justice, true peace be born. Women arise, women unite, change yourself and change the world. Izwe lethu." I thank you. Africa. Siyabonga. Ria hopola ke re hore ka 1956 bomme bane baneng ba kena mona ntatwane a tswa ka lefestere e seng khale wa be modimo wa mmitsa le mo hopola ka hara bona ho mokgatlo wa Federation of South African Women ho ne ona le mokgatlo o mongwe o ne ka shekuntso le teng.
Welcome back. We take a quick break from the podium because we're joined now by a very special guest, Mampule Mageretse. Now, she was there among the throng of 20,000 women on her mother's back at just 2 months old. Mama Mageretse, what did your mother tell you of that day 56 years ago?
Pardon?
What did your mother tell you about that day 56 years ago when you were on her back marching to the union buildings?
Okay, he told me that they were marching for the Dompas.
And what was the atmosphere like? How did she describe it to you?
It was a difficult situation by that time when they marched to Union Building for the Dompas.
Did your mother tell you why she felt the need to join hands with thousands of other women from across the country?
Yes, she told me. Because they were not happy by that time about the atmosphere for that time, and then to come and march for the Dompas, because the police, they were searching them left and right about the Dompas and all these things. They were giving them the boundaries. So it was, they told themselves, I was very young, enough is enough.
But she put you on her back and she came to say, enough is enough.
Yes.
If you had to pick a woman who inspires you, would it be your mother?
It was my mother.
Why?
I can't give you a full explanation because by that time I was still very young. When he put up me at the back and marching to Union Building. And then I'm happy because today I celebrate the same year with the Women's Day today. That's why I'm here.
That's Mama Gretse, who was on her mother's back 56 years ago at just 2 months old. We go back to my colleague Levuani, who's on the lawns of the union buildings. Excuse me, we're going right back to the podium to get some of the speeches from there.
Presenting the memorial lecture in honor of Charlotte Maxeke in Bloemfontein on the 3rd of August, our President Jacob Zuma rightly said, "We celebrate Maxeke, who allowed no boundary to be set for her as she lived her life to the fullest in pursuit of freedoms for all." The election of Comrade Nkosazana Zuma as chair of African Union Commission is a triumph for all of us as African women. It is a concrete image of what we can achieve when we are united. We need practical steps of taking women's cause forward and ensuring that women are empowered and best positioned to take their rightful place in society. Program Director, on behalf of the ANC Women's League, would like to thank the ANC and the people of our country for the unflinching commitment to the struggle for women's emancipation. We call upon women, mainly the young, to emulate the examples of Charlotte Maxeke. The pioneering spirit of Maxeke, the sacrifices of the thousands of women marchers of 1956, and many others, past and present, should not be in vain. In closing, Program Director, our message for today as a Women's League is that we should protect, educate, skill, empower, and affirm women. Because in doing so, we will educate and empower the whole nation. As a Women's League, we wish all women a memorable and a fulfilling National Women's Day. Let it remind all of us our right to decent life, and that our rights indeed as women are human rights. Malibongwe!
Viva ANC Women's League, viva! Wathinta bafazi! Bomme, re a hopola hore ka 1956, ho twe ba neng ba kene mona, ba ne ba le 20,000. Namhlanje, ka ho ya ka bao ba shebileng tshireletso ba bomongameli, kuthiwa thina laba ngesikhathi sethu ngo-2012 abafike la eTshwane baburamukhuba, we are 21,000. Mpumalanga itlile ka dibase tse 20. Northwest itlile ka dibase tse 15. Hak Freystad itlile ka dibase tse 30. Rona he re khalimetse lenyatso, re tlile ka dibase tse 205. Angisakhulumi ama-comrade aphume KZN, aphume Western Cape, aphume Northern Cape, kaufela ha rona. We have really relived the march ka 2012. Hari shapeleng makhofi, malibongwe. Le mo baleng bathaba hore ka nnete, we have relived the march of 1956 ha march o qeta dilemo tse 56. Re a leboha bana beso, re leboha bo premier ba rona ka hobane ke bona ba kentseng matsoho ka mikotleng ya mmuso ba tlisa basadi mona Tshwane. Re a ba leboha kaofela, re re union building ke ya rona bayenze kahle. Asibizeni ke manje the legendary divas uMama Dorothy Masuku, uMama Abigail Kubeka, uMama Zenzi Makebali, they all constitute the Makeba band. Bato re khasa hanyane pela re ribitse Melulu Qingwane.
Every Motanda umgidi Motwela babagi
Yesa Achinyo sasisa
Losisi nyampanisa
Shap kunjani ngathanda sakubungani
Ikamu
Nayi nambu ngaphela Lokhithi umnandi kimi Ngithanda ukuphuka
Ngithanda
Chess mangiphethe wena laba abanye bakholwa Are you ready to sing?
Bayakhalela bakuthanda
One, two, three, everybody
We Shogoloza I Shogoloza Shogoloza
Chess It's my boss of Kitty sing
Shogoloza I Shogoloza Shogoloza It's my boss
Ngilizwa
Baby come over
Mothanda sinethi sleep over I can take you all over baby
See your Shogoloza
Nebichi zami thanda masimbona nawe
Linda bengawo sonke sifuna ukuhamba nawe
Uyangipulisa masoshaya razor cut
Nengqondo uyayibayisa
I need to give this away
Awuthanda monyakaza nanka umakaza
I need to give this away Just up 1, 2, 3 sing Shogoloza Shogoloza Shogoloza
It's my boss of me
Sing along church Shogoloza Shogoloza Everybody clap your hands everybody clap your hands Catch it Catch it Catch it Catch it Catch it Catch it Catch it
I'm a boss of me One says It's my boss of me
I say can you feel it
All protocol observed. My beautiful premier, our beautiful ministers, our beautiful country, and beautiful everybody. Yo, Humunatian today. Pambili ngamakhosikazi pambili. Pambili ngamakhosikazi pambili. You know, some of us have been fortunate to have lived through everything that has happened in this beautiful country. We're blessed. Sibabonile omama ngoyi nabo bonke bemacha really banyane really yo labo mama sababona, and today we are here honoring them, representing them, and saluting them. Pambili. And of course Pambili nge ANC government here too. Nangu Zenzili, this is Ugulu Skasi Zenzi Umire Makeba. This is her granddaughter. I was called on your size to Rotimasu. All right, here we go.
Thank you.
Siyabonga.
All
Say
right.
anyone for the road sister Echisang.
Echisang kia iri papalazi. Ngiyolazi papalazi angithi. Hey, mina lingiphethe namhlanje papalazi. Ngiyazi sibaningi esiphethe ipapalazi. Ngiyazi siphethe ipapalazi. Phethe ipapalazi. Chisa. Yebo. Tata Kenya. Tanya. Ipapalazi. Anginizwa. Monitors up, please. Monitors up. Tata Kenya. Tanya. Ipapalazi. Anginizwa. Oza. Monitors up, please. Monitors up. Ipapalazi, uthola bazolo, ipapalazi, angilala, mama ipapalazi, uthola bazolo, ipapalazi, hey! Hela ipapalazi, You should know that song again. Thank you. Lalelani ningaphuza ukholo ne. On second thought ningaphuza ukholo.
Marexes Abigail, kubona usasaki man, is that arthritis of what?
Ah, never. Kinule di pilisi.
Chinsaba. What's
Watch for the road. Watch for the road.
What's which one? Woo! Dance, Linda. Maposa mani mama sikuwa hivi. Yeah, mama. Bati kutana kwa mubonanje, dani nganjena. Yeah, mama. Kodwa geseni njenje mamani, kena yochana. Yeah, mama. Whoa, whoa, mama, oh yeah. Whoa, mama, oh yeah. Whoa, mama, oh yeah. Whoa, mama, oh yeah. Whoa, yo, yo, dandi gajemna. Yeah, mama. Kuntala kwa mubonanje, dandi gajemna. Yeah, mama. African pizza. A big hand for this young man, ladies and gentlemen. Woo! Whoa, 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 whoa. Ready for kweli hapo zamani sikuwa hivi. Yeah, mama. Sasa mimi niko hivi weye, shauri ya pombe. Yeah, mama. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Why, mama? Whoa, yeah, whoa, yeah. Whoa, whoa, mama, yeah. Why, mama? 60.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Haribitseng Melulu Bugwala to the podium, Mamuklungwane.
Siyabonga kumatshitshi. Sibabonile nabomama bajayiva labajabulile. Sesishaywa isikhathi sizozama ukuthi sigijimise isikhathi. His Excellency President Jacob Zuma and our First Lady Umama Umantuli, former President, former Deputy President. Hayi nabomama siyafuna babe o-president. Former Deputy President of South Africa, Mama Baleka Mbete, Minister of Arts and Culture and the Premier of Gauteng, our program directors, Minister of Basic Education and President of the ANC Women's League, Mayor of Tshwane, kutlile bomme ba re ba mo rata-rati. The leaders of political parties, bomme, bacha, le bontate, ba nang le rona kajeno. Re a le dumedisa. The theme of the Women's Month this year is 56 years since the 1956 March. Re a keteka kajeno, re keteka 56 ya dilemo tsa mzabalazo wa bomme. Ba sa qala ka 1956, ba ne ba le teng le ka 1913, bomme Maxeke. Re kajeno re ngwala history ya basadi. Re butsi kgwedi ena ya basadi mani Freistata, hak Freistat. Kwana Mangaung, mo ne re tsamaya le presidenti, mo a ileng a bula strata sa Charlotte Maxeke, Atima Maitland Street, Abula Charlotte Maxeke Street, hore koloi ya basadi e tsamaye. Tate President kajeno re tsuile hoseng ra lo bula monument ya basadi mani Lillian Ngoyi Square, mo meya wa rona a ileng a ntso antsha Van der Walt Street. Ke mang yena eo? Ke sepoko sa o kae sona seo? Are Mangoyi le basadi ba tsamaile mona Van der Walt ha ba ya Union Building ka di 9 tsa August 1956. Are strata sena ke Lillian Ngoyi Street. Halala Lillian Ngoyi, halala. Halala Charlotte Maxeke, halala. Ka tsatsi leo he ha re bula kgwedi ena mane Mangaung, ne re tsamaya le mme Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, the first woman chairperson of the AU Commission. Halala Nkosazana, halala. Usikhonzele Nkosazana, usikhonzele. Umele ama-Afrika namakhosikazi ubamele. Namhlanje ke sizo mela upresident ozasethulela inkulumo yakhe, ekhuluma nesizwe, ekhuluma namakhosikazi. Mina ke angeke ngikhulume kakhulu. Bathi nginitshela ukuthi uzalelwe nini, niyamazi ukuthi uzalelwe eNkandla. Niyamazi ukuthi uzelwe nini, niyambona ukuthi useyibhungu, useyitshitshi. Usayibhungu. Uhleli netshitshi, ebengeke ahlale naleli tshitshi, kanti ukikiyena mukhalala. Siyamazi ukuthi usebenzile kuma trade union, siyamazi ukuthi wajoyina lenhlangano ngo-1958, wajoyina umkhonto wesizwe ngo-1962, ujoyine i-ANC, ujoyine after i-ANC sayibheniwe, okubonisa ukuthi kaniti kisinatla samuna. Uye wathi ebaleka la eSouth Africa ngo-1963, bambopha le-Zeerust, wavalelwa eRobben Island, la aqede khona iminyaka elishumi esemanzini lezansi esiqithini. Ungenile waba inkokheli ye-NEC ye-ANC ngo-1977, abaningi laba bengekazalwa. uye waheda i-ANC intelligence ye-ANC ngo-1980. NgoFebruary ka-1990 wabuyela la ekhaya. Ukhethiwe abe omunye oyosikhulumela kwi-Grooteskier. La wayetshela khona ukuthi de Klerk isikhathi sakho siphelile. Ubuyile wangena waba u-Deputy Secretary of the African National Congress ngo-1991. Wabuya wayosebenza ehlanganisa inkatha ne-ANC nabantu bakithi eNatal. Akaphelelanga lapho, ubuyile waya ko-Congo, waya ko-Burundi, la wayehlanganisa khona abantu ukuthi kube nokuthula elizweni. Ngifuna ukusho ke ngithi ungenile ngo-99 waba u-Deputy President na wabuya ngo-2007 waba u-President of the ANC. Nimkhethile ke ngo-2009 ukuthi abe u-President we-Republic of South Africa. Siyamamukela ke ubaba ukuthi eze athule inkulumo yakhe kumakhosikazi. Malibongwe! Viva President Jacob Zuma, viva!
Onjani? Owenzani?
Ngicela ukuthi alinde phaya. Ngithi ngicela ame kancane angazi ufake umbhaco. Besicela umama ofake umbhaco ozithambise into emhlophe mo. Ke kopa re qala re tswela pele ka program ya rona. Ngiyacela nine nilandelayo lapho mama Shal iring badule fatsi siqhubeka ngeprogram yethu. Hlala phansi sisi noma bhuti ogcobisa into emhlophe ebusweni. Dulang mo yemang mo. Phethe mina manje la. Kukwami la. Asethuleni umongameli kawufela rona li rona barweli ndituku ariyeme mo. Ngicela lo sisi orumama orubhuti ame lapho miseni lapho. Oh. Kukwami la. Re tlo batla message wa president. Viva Msholozi, viva!
Ukhuluma ngalo okufaka into emhlophe ebusweni nebhukela emhlophe elikhulu. Oh, I see.
Khona nento lapha manje angaziboni into ayenza. Bayipile. Robert Wend. Oh. Sibaye. Abazange bambo.
Thinta abafazi zokufa. Wathinta abafazi. Wathinta abafazi. Wathinta imbokodo. Malibongwe. Igama lamakhosikazi. Alibongwe. Igama lamakhosikazi. Siyabonga bomama. Former State Deputy President Balega Mbete, Premier Nomvula Mkonyane, Premier of the Gauteng Province, Honorable Minister of Women, Children and People with Disabilities, the Minister of Arts and Culture, and all ministers, premiers, deputy ministers, and MECs present, the Mayor of Tshwane, Councillor Ramkhopa, and other mayors present here, heads of our legislatures and other state institutions, representatives of political parties in our country, ambassadors and high commissioners, veterans of the 1956 Women's March and other senior citizens present here, leaders and members of women's organization here present, religious leaders and traditional leaders, fellow South Africans, Sanbonani, Dumelang, Molweni, Abshen, good morning. Goeiemorgen. Oh, goeiemiddag. Yes, goeiemiddag. I would like to extend warm greetings to all South Africans, and especially to all women and girls on this important day in our history. Ngibingelela bonke omame namantombazane eningizimu Afrika ngaleli langa elibaluleke kangaka lokubonga iqhaza labo omama emzabalazweni, emakhaya, nasempilweni jikelele ezweni lethu, njengoba namhlanje sikhumbula omama ababalulekile abangabaholi nomama abababambe iqhaza emzabalazweni. Kweqiniso ukuthi uma uthuthukisa omama uthuthukisa isizwe. Yingakho sigubha lomgubho namhlanje ngokukhulu ukuziqhenya nangokukhulu ukuthanda omama ngemsebenzi yabo ebalulekile. Sithi ngokugcweleyo malibongwe igama lamakhosikazi. Our theme for the 2012 National Women's Day is Women United in Fighting Poverty, Inequality, and Unemployment. The 2012 National Women's Day takes place during a significant year, the celebration of 100 years of selfless struggle. It was a struggle in which women played a pivotal role to bring about freedom and a society free of poverty, inequality, and racism. We pay tribute to many generations of women for their sacrifices, patriotism, hard work, and commitment. We salute Charlotte Maxake, the founder of the Bantu Women's League, a precursor to the ANC Women's League, a woman of substance who was a pioneer in many fields: science, education, missionary work, social work, and leadership. She led the first campaign against past laws in Bloemfontein in the Free State as early as 1913. The Free State provincial government this week honored this heroine by renaming Atlant Street, on which she led the march, as Charlotte McCluskey Street. We honor the women who followed in her footsteps. The 20,000 women who marched to the union buildings against past laws on the 9th of August 1956. Among this group were Lillian Ngoyi, Helen Joseph, Sophie Williams de Bruyn, and Albertina Sisulu. Lillian Ngoyi eloquently described the past laws as, and I quote, a badge of slavery in terms whereof all sorts of insults and humiliation may be committed on Africans by members of the ruling class, unquote. Compatriots, we would like to single out for special mention women in rural areas for their sterling contribution to the struggle. Amongst many activities, we celebrate the historic uprising against past laws in Zeerust. The women's revolt began in 1957 in Lehurutse and spread to other villages in Zeerust, such as Tinogana, Lechompung, Motswedi, and Kopan. Mobile trucks were being sent by the racist government to bring tompasses to women. Women defied even their own traditional leaders who were instructing them to cooperate and take the passes. In honor of the heroism of these women, compatriots, the sites of the anti-pass marches in Zeerust will be declared as heritage sites. In Durban, areas around the same time during the 1950s, we salute the women who campaigned against the prohibition of brewing traditional beverages at home. Brewing had been outlawed so that men could be lured into government beer halls to spend their wages, meager wages, in the beer halls. When boycotted and picketed, the beer halls forcing many to close. Two of the leading figures of the Ketomano anti-beer hall campaign of 1959 were Mary Tipe and Dorothy Nyembe. Malibongwe Kamala Makhosikazi. We'll always remember and celebrate the role of organizations such as the Black Sash movement, which bravely promoted human rights and justice in the face of repression during the struggle against apartheid. We salute all women for their resilience against past laws, severe repression, the incessant violence that engulfed our townships during the 80s and 90s, arrests, torture, and all sorts of violations of human dignity. We honor the women who joined Umkhonto Wesizwe, taking up arms in defense of their country and in the quest of freedom. Women's Monument will be built on Lillian Ngoyi Square here in Tshwane, profiling critical role played by women in the realization of our democracy. The driving force behind the actions of all these generations of women was to build a national democratic society, a non-racial, non-sexist, democratic, and prosperous South Africa, free of poverty, inequality, and unemployment. Today, we look back at what we have achieved since the attainment of the freedom they fought so hard for, especially with regards to promoting gender equality. It is a matter of considerable pride that many of the rights and freedoms women fought for are now entrenched in the Constitution of our country. Gender equality is now a constitutional imperative in our country. This is further enforced by various pieces of legislation and legal instruments, including the Promotion of Equality and Prevention of Unfair Discrimination Act, the Employment Equity Act, the Domestic Violence Act, Maintenance Act, Sexual Offences Act, and the Civil Union Act. Internationally, we are parties to various instruments such as the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, the Beijing Platform for Action, the Protocol to the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, on the rights of women in Africa, the SADC Protocol on Gender and Development, as well as the AU Gender Policy, among others. In this vein, we celebrate far and wide the recent election of the first woman chairperson of the African Union Commission, Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma. Under her leadership, we are confident that the status of women and children in the continent will be further entrenched. Other key structures promoting gender equality are the Commission for Gender Equality and the Department of Women, Children, and People with Disabilities. While we still have a lot of work to do, we are satisfied with the progress made thus far in improving the status and quality of life of women in only 18 years of our freedom. We are making progress on women's occupation of leadership positions. The ANC government remains determined to ultimately meet the 50-50 target on women's representations. In the National Executive, we have 14 cabinet ministers and 15 deputy ministers. In addition, 5 out of 9 premiers are women, which mean the majority of provinces are run by women. The representation of women in parliament increased from 27.8% in 1994 to 44.0% in 2009. Similarly, the representation of women in provincial legislatures has increased from 25.4% to 42.4% respectively. However, the 2011 Business Women in Leadership census conducted by the Business Women's Association of South Africa shows that gender balance remains slow in the corporate boardrooms. The census reveals that although there is a slight increase in the employment of women in top executive positions, this increase is minimal. What is more disturbing is that there are still companies that have a 0% of women representation as directors and executive managers. The 2011 report of the Commission for Employment Equity indicates that more must also be done to improve the representation of people with disabilities at top and senior management levels in both the private and public sectors. The representation of women at the senior and top management levels of the public service also remains inadequate. Experience has shown that voluntary mechanisms of gender equality are inadequate. For this reason, we have directed to ministries for women, children, and peoples with disabilities to fast-track the gender equality bill so that we can enforce gender parity measures across all sectors of society. We are also amending the Employment Equity Act in order to introduce new measures such as the principle of equal pay for work of equal value. It will impose sanctions on employers that fail to prepare and implement an employment equity plan. Compatriots and friends, enhancing gender equality in the private and public should not be viewed simply as a compliance issue to pacify the Employment Equity Commission. It is a fundamental principle of democracy and human rights. Women's rights are human rights. compatriots, given the legacy of the colonialism of a special type and apartheid, we have a lot of work to do to improve the living of conditions of millions of our people, especially the women. We know that it will take years, if not decades, to completely eradicate poverty, inequality, and unemployment. But we will soldier on to achieve this goal of the founding mothers and fathers of our struggle for freedom. We'll soldier because we can see results. We are happy to have achieved the Millennium Development Goal target of reducing the number of people living on less than $1 a day. Most of the achievements in reducing extreme levels of income poverty can be ascribed to government's comprehensive social protection program. This includes extensive income support programs, access to free education and primary health care for the poorest, and the provision of free basic services to indigent members of our society. Kuningi osekwenziwe ukuze sinciphise isibalo sabantu abahlupheka kakhulu, abangenakho ngisho ukudla ngosuku nosuku. Uhulumeni usiza ukuxosha ikati eziko ngokuletha izibonelo zezingane ezifana ne-child support grant, izimpesheni zabadala, nezimali zokudla zokondla izintandane kanye nokusiza abakhubazekileyo. Lolu sizo lukahulumeni lwenza umehluko emndenini eminingi ngenxa yesimo sokwentuleka kwemisebenzi. With regards to expanding basic services, the electrification program has been a great success. In 1994, only 30% of South Africans' households had access to electricity. To date, Eskom has connected over 4 million households to the national electricity grid since 1994 in rural areas. Electrification has increased from 12% in 1994 to almost 60% currently. In addition, close to 450,000 people were supplied with basic water supply between April and December 2011. We are also making real progress on improving women's access to health care services. We have aggressively implemented new policies to increase universal access to free antiretroviral treatment to ensure that HIV-positive people live full, productive lives. Treatment is made available to HIV-positive pregnant women, babies born to mothers who are HIV-positive, as well as everyone with a CD4 count of less or equal to 350. Our objective is to increase access to antiretroviral drugs to 2.5 million South Africans by 2014. Compatriots, we are also celebrating the fact that the transmission of HIV from mother to child has dropped from 8% in 2008 to 2.7% in 2011. We congratulate and thank all women and health professionals for making this program such a phenomenal success. We are also delighted with the results of the third South African National HIV Communication Survey on HIV counseling and testing. The survey shows that the percentage of people ever tested for HIV increased from 55% in 2009 to 64% in 2012, for a total of 17.4 million people. Our priority health programs also include increasing life expectancy and, in particular, the reduction and ultimate eradication of mother and child mortality. South Africa has adopted the African Union's campaign to accelerate the reduction of maternal mortality in Africa, and we are determined to achieve good results to protect the lives of women and children. With regards to safety and security, since 1994, our government has been working tirelessly to eradicate violence against women and children. The enactment of the Domestic Violence Act was an important milestone. We urge women to use this law to protect themselves. We urge communities to help government to eradicate violence against women through reporting such crimes. Domestic violence, in particular, should not be treated as a private matter. It is a crime and must be reported to the police. As a nation, we must unite against all hooligans who attack and sexually assault women and girls. The recent reported rape of a woman aged 94 years of age, who is the same age as our own Madiba, depicts a sickness in our society that must be nipped in the bud if our society has to be a respected society. Women must be free to walk anywhere, day or night, without fearing attacks. The police stand ready to deal with such criminals. And as you have noticed, we have put the Women Commission of Police in South Africa to ensure that no stone is left unturned. We will continue supporting programs such as the Tutuzela Care Centers to reduce secondary victimization and to promote conviction rates of these who commit these crimes. Women have raised the need to conscientize and train officials in the coalface of helping women access justice. In this regard, we have trained 180 prosecutors on the comprehensive manual on child maintenance matters to improve access to maintenance payments to support children. In addition, a total of 349 prosecutors have been trained to implement the new Child Justice Act, and 102 were trained on the domestic violence law, and 79 to manage on human trafficking cases. Government has also set up a task team to investigate the revival of sexual offences courts, which recorded impressive conviction rates in certain parts of the country in the past. There are other measures that will yield positive results. Key amongst these is the reintroduction of the Family Violence, Child Protection and Sexual Offences units within the police service. Another positive development is the approval of the Prevention and Combating of Trafficking in Persons Bill, which will yield concrete results against such crimes. Most importantly, communities and all of us must support families and women who are victims of domestic violence. We must also support families of missing women. We had such a sad case with the late Constable Francis Rasuche of Pretoria, who went missing for years until her remains were found. During this Women's Day, I wish to also highlight the case of Miss Nandi Mbizane, who lived in Centurion in Pretoria, who disappeared on the 4th of March 2012. Law enforcement agencies are doing their best to solve this case. We are aware that there are a number of similar cases that we may not know about. Our thoughts are with all affected families. Compatriots, government working alone will not be able to eradicate violence against women and children, or women and children abusers. We are therefore pleased to work with projects such as Brothers for Life, as well as established civil society organizations such as Soul City and the Sonke Gender Justice. These organizations remind us that men have an important role to play in combating violence against women and children. We congratulate them for promoting the participation of men so positively. Our ultimate goal is to build a society where women can be free from violence and from conditions that hold them back from achieving their full potential. compatriots, let me emphasize that in all we are doing as government, we are building a society in which we must work together to solve problems. We are building a society where we do not just ask what government can do and or complain about what government has not done yet. We must build a society in which we all pull together to tackle challenges that face our society. Fellow South Africans, South Africa is on track to meet the Millennium Development Goal of promoting access to universal access to education. The number of girls attending primary, secondary, and tertiary education has improved significantly. This is important because education is central to development and can serve as a catalyst to address gender disparities. Moreover, education is the primary vehicle by which vulnerable children can lift themselves out of poverty, as President Nelson Mandela once told us. There are some serious difficulties in education delivery in provinces such as Limpopo and the Eastern Cape. The national government has intervened to assist in restoring quality learning and teaching. We will do our best working with communities to reverse current difficulties and deliver quality education in these provinces. Still on education, we are encouraged by the steady increase in female enrollment and graduation in higher education, especially in the field of science, engineering, and technology. The number of black female graduates with doctoral degrees in science and technology increased from 38.8% in 2002 to 44.7% in 2008. This is a good trend as we want women to venture into these new fields beyond what is considered traditionally female fields. Compatriots, we cannot complete the emancipation of women without promoting economic emancipation. We encourage women to play a significant and meaningful and direct role in key industrial sectors as articulated in the Industrial Policy Action Plan. The sectors include chemicals, advanced manufacturing, green energy, agro-processing, metals, and the automotive sectors. We also have a number of programs as vehicles of supporting women-led and women-owned enterprises run by the Department of Trade and Industry, amongst others. These include the Isivande Women's Fund, which provides finance targeting registered enterprises which are at least 60% women-owned. The Bavumile Skills Development Initiative identifies talent in the arts, crafts, textiles, and clothing sectors among women enterprises. Its main objective is to improve the quality of products produced by women enterprises and cooperatives to ensure their market readiness. The Technology for Women in Business program rewards with annual awards women enterprises that use technology to grow their businesses. We congratulate the 2011 winner, Dr. Moretlo Molefi, who pioneered a product in telemedicine. Government also runs the Techno Girl program, which encourages girls to choose careers in engineering, science, and technology. A total of 100 girls per province participate. We also have programs promoting women in farming and women in construction. The ultimate goal is to enable women to contribute to economic growth, job creation, and the fight against poverty and inequality. Compatriots, the country has to promote women's emancipation in a comprehensive manner and should also include sports and recreation. Firstly, let me congratulate all South African athletes competing in the Olympics Games currently underway in London. Let me congratulate and welcome back home the South African Olympics winning team that arrived back this morning. Together with the conquering rowing team, they have presented South Africa as a winning and shining nation on the world stage. This year, our qualification standards for the Olympics were set a bar higher than the previous years to ensure that the team brings back home more medals than was the case in Beijing in 2008. We are truly proud of the achievements, but we need more medals. The instruction was that they should come home with 12 medals. Therefore, we wait in anticipation and know that they will continue doing their very best for this beautiful country. Compatriots, we have seen developments during the Olympics that we can improve on, especially regarding women in sports. We have seen earlier on in the qualifier championships that our women's teams led the pack with Banyana Banyana and the national women's hockey team, the Smoothies, qualifying for the Olympics. This happened despite the skewed resourcing of these women's teams in comparison to their male counterparts. We know how best these teams can do with more support from all of us, and we must all play our part, government and the private sector, to build a winning sporting nation. We have also decided to formalize and professionalize netball, which is the most popular women's sport in South Africa. Working in cooperation with Netball South Africa, government will now host an annual four-nation netball tournament called the Netball Diamond Challenge. Participating countries will be South Africa, Botswana, Tanzania, and Malawi. The tournament will be played this Saturday on the 11th of August and will run until the 18th of this month in Johannesburg and Cape Town. To further increase the pool of netball players to be available for selection to the Protea team, we will launch a full professional netball league from April 2013. If we succeed in these programs, as we intend to, we will not only improve the sport and our competitiveness, we will also empower many more young and active women socially and economically, and create more positive role models for our children. The Department of Sports and Recreation will host a National Women's and Sport Indaba later in the year to discuss how to develop women in sport further, building on these lessons and current programs. Compatriots, it has been a long road since Charlotte Maxaka's first anti-pass march in 1913, followed by many women's campaigns until 1994. We have made substantial progress. We know too that there is a lot more that we must do, working together as a government and the people of South Africa. As our late stalwart Mayor Helen Joseph outlined years back, progress has indeed been made. She said, and I quote, "I don't doubt for a moment that the revolution will result in a non-racial society. I have just come from being a patient in Groote Schuur Hospital, where they now have integrated wards. For the first time in my life, I have seen it working. The patients were mixed, the staff was mixed, and the medical officers were mixed. It was totally integrated. It was beautiful, white and black together, and it works. To me, that is terribly exciting," unquote. In addition, we know that all of it will work because of the participation of women. We're told thus by our late stalwart and mother, Albertina Sisulu. She said in 1987, and I quote, "Women are the people who are going to relieve us from all this oppression and depression. The rent boycott that is happening in Soweto now is alive because of the women. It is the women who are on the street committees educating the people to stand up and protect each other," unquote. Siyabonga igalelo lo mama emzabalazweni wenkululeko. We praise the women of South Africa, South African women from all walks of life who have played a role in bringing about our freedom and democracy. Njengesizwe sonkana sihlangene sithi malibongwe igama lamakhosikazi. Thank you very much.
Viva President Zuma, viva! Pili ka mmuso wa batho pele. Ha kene teboho re tsitsinye mebele ho be monate.